Hi, I'm Eric Orner, and I'd like to read to you a couple of chapters of my upcoming graphic novel, SHMATGUY, The Life and Times of LGBTQ Pioneer Barney Frank. It's 2009, and Wall Street is tanking. Chapter 23, The Ugly Aughts. In the 2006 midterm election, 5 years after 9/11, and 3 after we punched a hole in the giant hornet's nest that's Iraq, American voters lost faith that President George W. Bush and his gang of neocons had any clue about what they were doing.
Mr. President, about Scooter Libby.
Oh, not now, Dick. Watching my best show.
Democrats took control of the House, elevating Barney to the chairmanship of the powerful Financial Services Committee.
I'm open to working with you Republicans on affordable housing.
Yeah, well, Barney, don't hold your breath. It was becoming clear right about this time that something was very screwed up about Wall Street, and by extension, our whole economy.
Come on, aren't these foreclosures happening because all these idiots bought too much house? A lot of them get suckered. Low interest rate to start, balloon rate kicked in later.
So you're really saying they didn't read their own goddamn mortgages?
Hidden in the fine print, on purpose, and offered to buyers that the brokers knew wouldn't be able to make payments. The minute a broker collected his fee from one of these predatory home sales, he turned around and sold the shitty loan, bundled together with more like it, to somebody else.
Hold on. I thought you wanted more home ownership, but now you're criticizing easier lending. Isn't that what made more home ownership possible in the first place?
Bullshit. I want lenders to give lower income people a fairer shake when they apply for a mortgage. That's a lot different from scamming them into buying a house they can't afford just to collect a sales fee. Hell, we've been trying to get more responsibility in lending for years. Passed a bill in 94 giving the Fed all this new power to crack down on shady lenders like Countrywide. But Alan Greenspan, like the crazy friggin' Oracle of Delphi, just said, the market will police itself. In 2005, we Dems were in the minority, but we joined with more reasonable folks on the other side to tighten lending and to rein in the big companies, Fannie and Freddie, that buy up all the home loans.
So what happened?
Tom DeLay and the other zealots in the Republican leadership read the riot act to the Republicans on our committee who are working with us. Our bipartisan bill was strangled in its crib.
History lessons and gay dives aside, it was a busy time for him. Congressman! Barney's job as a powerful committee chairman involved making sure that allies held onto their seats in tough districts around the country. A guy couldn't pass progressive legislation if he didn't have the votes. Colleagues often asked him to headline their fundraisers.
It would just be so swell if you'd come.
Sure, Tom. He tried to always agree, even if it was pretty ball-busting on him and his staff.
Just ran up to the rep from Maine 2nd, wants me to come to a thing up there this weekend.
Oh, no problem, boss. I'll just shoehorn it in between your 80 other meetings this weekend. But first, let me just solve North Korea's nuke issue, and then maybe spin some dross into friggin' gold. Which was why, on one particular weekend in 2006, he found himself up in Portland, Maine, waiting for a volunteer to drive him to a speaking gig. It was one of the great many trips he was now doing annually, making a quick speech, endorsing a candidate, answering policy questions, and cracking up his audience.
I have this fear that one day there's going to be a fire in the Senate, and tragically, they'll all perish because they won't have the votes to allow themselves to leave the building.
An hour later, obligation fulfilled, he scanned the crowd for his driver.
Why do they always disappear when I want to go?
If he was lucky, he'd catch an earlier flight, get a decent night's sleep for a change, and maybe get breakfast in the papers in Newton before hustling down to New Bedford to spend another Sunday schedule packed within an inch of his life.
Fresh cup on?
Excuse me, Congressman? Thank you so much for that amazing talk. We are such fans of you up here. Oh my God, I always catch you on Rachel Maddow, like without fail. And I hate to impose on you for just a sec, but the thing is, Congressman, there's this other fundraiser just down the coast in about an hour and a half.
I plan on getting right back to bus. What's the event for? We're fighting a referendum up here to save the state legislature's inclusion of sexual orientation in Maine's civil rights law. I've got it right here on my phone. Do you want to reject the state law that protects people in Maine from discrimination in employment, public accommodation, and credit based on their sexual orientation? Okay, you're driving. Oh my gosh, awesome sauce. Can I just grab a few friends for a group photo before we head out? No, where's the car? An hour later, he found himself dockside in Algonquin, Maine. He'd heard it was a gay resort town, though he'd never been before. It seemed nice, without Cape Cod's whiff of preppy anti-Semitism or the designer pretentiousness of Fire Island. Ta-da! He wolfed down a plate of cheese and crackers. Don't they feed you in Washington, Congressman? Ignore her. Welcome to Algonquin. Then he stood up to speak before an appreciative crowd. I want LGBT people to have the right to marry, to serve in the military, and to enjoy the right to a job based solely on their own qualifications. I acknowledge that this is an agenda, but I don't think any self-respecting radical in history would consider advocating people's right to get married, serve in the military, and earn a living to be a terribly revolutionary platform. He'd never thought of himself as an orator, not with his raspy voice and Jersey diction. But the crowd's reaction was so warm that for a moment he felt like Teddy or Jesse or Barbara Jordan. It was moving to be around LGBT people in these more out-of-the-way places. Their need for justice seemed even more urgent than it was in the rest of America.